let me note, this was approved by the planning commission at their, August 11th meeting, so that's,
Correct.
I had that step done. So my question is, Mr. McInturf is here, that they're combining parcels. And on the ordinance, we have 2 listed, but there's more than 2 here?
Well, if you include
Jan, come over to the podium, Jan.
Do I have to?
You make the call, buddy.
Make the call.
Again, McInturf Realty, I have to say that too, right? The
Yes.
Official, very good, thank you. So yes, what we have is part of Clay Road also, right, Ronnie?
Yes, sir.
That we're gonna include to help make it a better lot for commercial use, so we'll get a better price, obviously, number one. And number two, you need more space than just the 2 parcels that are listed. So I think that includes a 3rd parcel. And I don't know if there's any other little slivers in there or not, to be honest with you. But there would have to be a survey to make it a .80 acre lot, which is our guesstimate right now till we have it surveyed. But the good news, it has frontage of 110 feet on commercial southeast and 45 feet on Broadway, which obviously you can't come in off of Broadway, but it'd be a great place for a sign.
So let me ask Mr. Law Director here.
Well, let me ask a question. Does the map reflect accurately what we are auctioning off? Or is there more to it than that?
It reflects it, accurately, yes. Yes.
I think we're okay with the attached map.
So we're okay even though there's more than the 2 parcels?
There's only 2 parcels within that map, so that's what I listed.
But you're saying
You're
there's
looking at me.
3.
Well, I don't know what Clay Road is a separate, I don't know if it's
Oh.
part of that parcel or not. That would have to be, again, this would all be subject to survey. Normally, when we auction property, we don't go through with the official survey. We have the flag, the corners marked, and then the survey's done. You know, it's subject to survey, and it's surveyed then between the time the offer is, accepted. This would be subject to the city accepting the offer at auction, and then the survey would be officially done after that. That way, the city's
After
not
it's
spending
sold?
money. If the offer's not high enough that we consider it a fair value, the city turns down the bid. We've not cost the city money with a survey, which is gonna be expensive. So that way, the survey cost can be taken out of the proceeds of closing.
That is standard, Cheryl.
Oh, no, I know,
Gotcha.
I just sold my house a few years ago, so I understand that. But I want to know parcel-wise, we're okay?
I believe we're okay if the map reflects accurately, and I trust the service director if that's what he's telling me.
Okay.
And I know it was done to our mapping guy also, so I trust him.
Yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't trust me if I was doing it. I trust those guys.
Oh, yeah, that's not the question, I just want to make sure we got everything, because we have only got 2 parcels listed.
That's the only 2 that's reflected in that,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, so.
Okay, so, and the people that are selling this is Bambeck Auction, and I think you?
No, Wallach Auctions. I'm associated with Wallach Auction Company, so we would have Wallach auction it online.
Online, okay. So then, out of the proceeds comes the survey cost, and also the cost for Bambeck and your company? Wallet, sorry,
Bambeck's not good.
Wallet.
Well, Bamberg doesn't exist anymore, but that's okay.
I would ask this of anybody,
I know.
yes?
Yes.
Okay. So approximately, well, okay, we don't know, we'll see what happens with the auctions. Okay, so, does anybody on the committee have any questions? Okay. Okay, now I'll move to administration. Do you guys have anything to say, or?
I guess whenever Jan had brought up that piece of Clay Avenue there, when we talked through the planning commission, if you see the added square footage there, that's why we did it. Why would we want to take care of a road going into a business? That's why you see this, description, and that's added in. There's no reason for us to, you know, you can imagine the maintenance as far as plowing or anything back through there. We just cut it at that point, give it to the owners. It's costing us to have it there anyways, so we gave it to, we put it in this parcel for that reason and that reason only, to make it a larger piece. And then I know that, you see the two black lines that are running through there. Disregard the one within the 45-foot. That was an old abandoned 2-inch line that we abandoned through there. The other's a 12-inch water line through there. We had to depict that on the map for the, you know, prospective buyer, so that they know that. Not unheard of. The Howden property, had a sanitary sewer line right smack dab in the middle of the factory. I've been down there before and had the jet lines through there. It was interesting. And then we have since moved the water line outside of that to the side of the, Mill Avenue, but it's not uncommon. You have the mall, have the sanitary sewer line run under, almost 2/3 of the mall. So in this, we would make them, we would never go as far as what they let them do. They're gonna be known that we got 10-foot right of way on each side of this, nothing being built on each side of this. They're gonna come in and, you know, this is gonna be parking, which is fine, but they need to, we need to depict that so that they know that going in, so that,
Okay.
would have the price variable there to let them know that.
So the one going across, Broadway, then, that one's still there. It's just the other one on the 45-foot. On Clay. That's abandoned.
Correct.
Okay, but the other one is still active.
Yes.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that's active. Okay. Mr. Mayor, do you have anything to say?
No, but, you know, other than to say, this was the former location of Lockport Village Hall. The building's not there anymore. And, you know, this is a piece of ground that, we think will be attractive, for commercial businesses. And, you know, that'll help the city with more income and, you know, help the south side. Maybe give them, the people who live on the south side, more shopping or restaurant opportunities.
Okay, so, the rest of council, do you have any questions?
I got a quick question.
Oh, sorry.
Jan, do we have, and maybe not allowed to speak this, but is there an appraised value of this?
Not
chunk?
officially yet. What came to light was this 12-inch water line. The 20-foot setback is going to have an impact on it, so that's still, we're still evaluating because of that.
Okay.
That was before we found out about that water line.
So dovetailing on that, good question, when will have an appraised value, because you guys,
I'd say the appraisal happens the day of the auction, not to be smart, but that's the best way to
Okay.
find out what something's worth, and I can discuss with the city, based on that price, what we think.
okay.
That's
So,
my-
'cause
that's
the
my
minimum
suggestion.
bid is 300,000, right?
Pardon me?
The minimum bid is 300,000.
Well, we need to revisit that, in my opinion.
Okay, you need
Because
to
that bid was
revisit that.
established before we knew there was a water line. I knew there was a water line through it.
Okay,
That's going to
so,
inhibit what size of building, where you can put it, a lot of things.
so how should we handle that? Because in the ordinance, it says 300,000. Minimum bid.
What would the administration like to do? I'm not sure what we want to put in there out of that.
I think we announced sale date, it's subject to city approval, and we revisit that. Even putting a hard number on that, say you get 295,000, do you want to lose
Right.
a sale based on $5,000? I wouldn't, but that's your
So
decision.
maybe we should amend that to.
I think that would be wise, yes.
Real estate, the suggested minimum bid for said real estate will be,
Well, it does say suggested minimum bid. That doesn't lock us into saying we're gonna say.
I was
no
just
to
reading
all
that same
300,000.
thing, it just says suggested.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like Jan says, you do it at the.
Oh, suggested,
Yeah, it says
okay.
suggested, and then, just like in any bid we receive, I can reject any or all.
Right, and the language is in there says the
That
mayor
says
can
that.
do that.
Yeah,
Correct.
so, I mean,
Okay.
it's-
I don't think we need to change it at all.
You
No,
don't think,
I would
okay,
not change
all
it.
right.
I will not change it.
Okay, any comments, questions from the public? Okay, seeing none.
Well, can
Uh,
I make one more comment?
Oh, yeah,
Just-
sure.
Just to make sure it's on record, to understand that we still, it says at 300,000, but Jan's saying that that drastically has changed. So if this comes back and Jan, it sells for 175 and Jan thinks that's good, you know, let's not panic when it still says 300,000. I just wanna make sure everybody is aware of that Jan's saying that 300,000 should be revisited.
Right,
We can leave it in, but I just wanna make sure everybody's aware,
yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
that we remember that when that day comes. I just wanna say that again.
Yeah,
If
if you
it
look at the
doesn't come up
language,
there. Yeah.
it says suggested minimum bid.
Yep.
Jane, do you have, I guess kind of along what you're saying, do you have any, I mean, I know it's a total estimation, but what the cost would be? Like you mentioned, to survey it would be pretty expensive, and then I assume there would be
Well,
some
one
auction
surveyor,
fees, so whatever we get is gonna be, I'm just so everybody's clear.
we have
what-
one surveyor's estimate between 4,000 and 7,000.
Okay. And
We'll
then I
get, we'll get other estimates.
Yeah, and then I assume the auction takes a certain percentage of the.
Yeah,
of the sale.
Auction Zip, who we contract with to do online auctions, charges 1% of the sale price. So
Okay,
that would be paid either way, if it sells or if it doesn't.
okay.
Those are the two,
The two
Primary
biggest
costs,
costs.
yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
sure.
so, Mr. Mayor, would you like this passed tonight as an emergency, or?
Well, the sooner we can, get the ball rolling on this, the better. It will go to auction. So, yeah, if council's willing to do that, I would approve of that.
So I need a motion.
I'd add proposed ordinance 19 to tonight's agenda and ask council for suspension of the rules and passage on first reading.
Second?
Second.
So now I take a vote. Dan?
Yes.
Tom?
Yeah.
And myself, yes. Okay, I see we are really out of time. So, no more matters. We have to close this meeting. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
Thank you. All right.
Madam
we're
Clerk
on.
wanted to buy that bond. We've got to agree to sign that.
All right, it's 7:30. I'd like to call this council meeting to order. Would you please stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance? Mr. Walker, if you
Bow our heads,
please.
please. Heavenly Father, thanks for this beautiful day. We're grateful for this lovely, lovely weather, and being able to have the windows open and take walks without sweating to death. Father, we are just grateful for all those that protect and work in this city, keeping everything running and moving and safe for all of our residents. Be with this council this evening as we have discussion and pass legislation based on you, through you, for you, and for this city. We pray all this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Welcome everybody, and we'll start off as usual, roll call.
Mr. Crimebell.
Here.
Mr. Lanzer.
Here.
Mrs. Ramos.
Here.
Mr. Rippeth. Mr. Sears.
Here.
Mr. Simmeling.
Yes, here.
Mr. Walker.
Here.
Yes, let it be known that Mr. Rippeth is excused from the night's council meeting. All right, everybody's had a chance to review the agenda for tonight. Do we have any additions? Mrs. Ramos,
I'd like to add ordinance 18/2026.
do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Simmerlink. In discussion by administration, council, roll call.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Simmeling.
Yes.
Mr. Crimebell.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
All right, do we have other additions?
I want to,
Yeah,
Mr. President,
Chris.
I'd like to add ordinance 2020-2026.
Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Walker. In discussion by administration,
I'd like to suspend the rules on.
Well, we'll do
now.
that
We
when
have
we
to
get
pass
there.
it first.
we'll do that, we'll get there.
He keeps it prompt.
All right, let's see, roll call.
Mr. Simmeling.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Crimebell.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
All right, any other additions? Mrs. Ramos,
I'd like to add ordinance 19/2026.
do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Simmerlink. In discussion by administration, council, roll call.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Simmeling.
Yes.
Mr. Crimebell.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
All right, any other additions? Mr. Walker?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to go ahead and, can I do them both at one time?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to add, or I would like to add, amended ordinance 22/2026 and ordinance 24/2026 on tonight's agenda, please.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Roma? All right, thank you. In discussion by administration, council, roll call.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Simmeling.
Yes.
Mr. Crimebell.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
All right, any other additions? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve our agenda with the additions. Mr. Cranfield, thank you. I need a second. Thank you, Mr. Walker. In discussion by administration, council, roll call.
Mr. Crimebell.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Simmeling.
Yes.
All right, our agenda has been approved. Minutes. Everybody had a chance to review the minutes from our last council meeting. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve. Thank you, Mr. Walker. Need a second. Thank you, Mr. Sears. In discussion by administration, council, roll call.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Crimebell.
Abstain.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
All
Mr.
right.
Simmelink.
Yes.
Minutes have been approved. Correspondence, Ms. Courtwright.
To council and administration from City Income Tax Administrator Carly Luce, dated August 21st, 2026. This is an email titled Clarification on 2025-2026 Cost Estimated Sheet and Local Department Insights. This was replied to by Councilman Rippeth and Councilwoman Ramos. To council and administration from Treasurer Campbell, dated August 23rd, 2026. This is the treasurer's report for July of 2026. To President Kemp from Law Director Fate, dated August 24th, 2026. This is an email titled, Please assign to Mr. Simmelink's committee with proposed ordinances 20, 23, 24, 25, and 26 attached. President Kemp asked Mr. Simmelink to take the legislation into his committee. To President Kemp from Law Director Fate, dated August 24th, 2026. This is an email titled, Please assign to Mr. Walker's committee with proposed ordinance 21 attached. President Kemp asked Mr. Walker to take the legislation into his committee. To President Kemp from Law Director Fate, dated August 24th, 2026. This is an email titled, Please assign to Mrs. Ramos's committee with proposed ordinance 19 attached. President Kemp asked Mrs. Ramos to take the legislation into her committee. To council and administration from Mayor Day, dated August 24th, 2026, the mayor's report. And that concludes correspondence for this evening, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Ms. Courtwright. Moving to administrative reports, first up, Mayor Day.
Thank you, Mr. President, council members, fellow administrators, and guests. Just have some dates to remember to report to you this evening. First of all, everyone asks about this every year, so Halloween trick-or-treat night in New Philadelphia will actually be on Halloween on Saturday, October 31st from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. Also, mark on your calendar Wednesday, September 23rd at 1 p.m. That's the date and time for the ribbon cutting ceremony to officially mark the completion of the year-long downtown quadrants redesign project. Everyone is invited. I'd like to see everyone from council and the administration attending that event. Just to look back and recall how this all came about, the $2.9 million project was funded by Governor DeWine's Appalachian Community Grant Program and administered by the Ironton Lawrence County Community Action Organization. The governor used $500 million of the state's American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA money, to fund the project and to fund what he termed transformational projects in Ohio's 32 Appalachian communities, Appalachian counties. And also the NPAC, Advancing Our Community Together organization, will be holding its second annual Multicultural Festival. That's coming up on Saturday, September 5th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's a downtown event, and it'll be held outside at the First Drive and Allen Lane Southwest intersection there between Fresh the Market and Alley Cats Marketplace and Lacey Pack's Dance Studio. NPAC says the event will be featuring food from the cultures that are represented here in Tuscarawas County, and it'll also have Polynesian dancers dressed in their traditional costumes, and German polka and Cajun Zydeco music. So it should be a very lively event. I'd like to see everybody there if you can. If you need more information, you can find it on the NPAC Facebook page. That concludes my report. Any questions?
Any questions for the mayor?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Day. Service Director, Mr. McAbeer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. Just a couple quick things. The punch list continues to be whittled away at for the downtown square project. Friday, well, late Thursday, they was able to get the fence, the old fence that was taken down around Gavin's, because that has to be fenced in due to the liquor laws and the way they are. They finally got that up. That is not the permanent fence. That is a temporary fence, so that they could do some business out there until there's a back order on the new fencing that we're waiting on, and some railing that comes down that ramp a little bit. So again, that is not the that's not the new. That is if you look at it, that's the original stuff that was up there. But again, there's back order on the material that we've been using, so, we hope to get that, or they hope to get it in by the 23rd, for the grand opening. So again, they're still working on the punch list, they've been working through that. Also, someone had asked me, about the crosswalks. I think it must hit social media, you know, the keyboard cowboys talked about the, crosswalks, painting. It's not done yet, that's why it's where it's at. So, once, they gotta grind that out, and the contract comes in and puts them back where they go. Just so everybody knows out there in land of Oz, I guess, some of them, but anyways. But it's part of the project. Those are the original ones, they're not lined up with the other ones, because it's not done, okay? So, just wanna make that clear. Also, update on the CDBG project we have going on down on Miller Avenue. They started to do some of the walkways. The curbs and sidewalks are done, but they had some walkways that came from like center of your house, the walkway from your house, sidewalk, walkway, curb, road. They had about 10 of those to do, so it was in today, starting to get those ready, pour them yet this week. Some restoration work, we're still trying to work with them on doing some more work, but we still have some grant money there left, so haven't heard anything from the architect yet, or the engineer, I should say. So we're trying to work through that to try to get some more work done and stretch those grant dollars. So I'll keep everybody up to date on that at the next council meeting, and also give an update, because it will be closer and closer to that 23rd date of the square, and see how that's going. But that's the end of my report. Any questions?
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. McAbeer. Let's see, safety director's out of town on business, so we'll go to the auditor. Ms. Denham.
Thank you, Mr. President and Council Administration. Since we have legislation produced for Wednesday night's Finance Committee meeting to address the RETA, partnering with RETA, I just want to take this opportunity to talk about it for a minute. I won't go into a lot of detail, I'll save that for Wednesday's meeting. But after last Wednesday's meeting, it seems that some of the council's individual research was consulting with smaller cities that aren't really comparable to our size, and they may not have already had the resources that we already have, and so it might have benefited those cities to partner with RETA. And they might not have also had the number of accounts and transactions that we would have, which would change the amount of the percentage of how much of our expenses that we would have to pay. And during the RETA presentation, it did seem like that the only resources that I noticed that RETA does not offer, or that does offer that we don't already have, is just the IRS data access. And I asked around a little bit. I've got an email into the state. I would expect that the state probably receives that same IRS data access, which then would be transferred down to us when we receive the state's listing. I would just want to confirm that, because that is one of the big selling points for, that people or cities go to RETA. I'd also want to encourage you, if you're still doing individual research, to reach out to some of the cities that are leaving RETA to get what their feedback is. Cities that we spoke to noted that, and when I said we, the income tax department and myself, we noted that they originally partnered with RETA because they did not have the resources that RETA and we currently have, and many also did not have the staff to adequately, staff and administer their own office. So it seemed like the right choice to partner with RETA. I recently spoke to a city that's a little smaller than ours, that they went to RETA in 2016 when we're having House Bill 5 changing tax laws. A tax administrator was retiring, that would left one person in the office. So they decided to go ahead and partner with Rita, and I just want to read some of their notes that I kept during the conversation. I'm not going to say what city it is, I can tell you afterwards if you want to reach out to them, but I didn't ask if I can talk about them, so I don't want to say what city it is. But like I said, in 2016, they partnered with Rita, and after that transition, that employee still handled much of the day-to-day work because many of the taxpayers needed help filing their tax returns. The tax forms were very generic and hard to understand for many of the people. So this person had to help prepare the tax returns and submit them to Rita. She also had to stay in the office to continue monitoring the local contractors and business activities, and to ensure Rita followed up appropriately, since Rita was not in their location and wouldn't necessarily have that information. She believed that the access to the IRS data was a big deciding factor when they chose Rita. And she said while a separate team in Rita handles the IRS data access, she believed the data wasn't reviewed as often as what it should be or consistently. She felt the information was being missed and had called them several times to encourage them to look at and review those lists again. And she said she was actually looking for certain information and Rita was never able to provide it to them. And she believed that some of the issues were not being identified. She confirmed that Rita retained the 3% and the city did receive a refund, although the amount was not significant. The city's new mayor spoke with many residents during his campaign, and many expressed their concerns about Rita's customer service. Residents said it was difficult to reach the right person for help, and letters they had received or with other tax-related issues. Once the city was able to adequately staff the office and better serve the taxpayers locally, they decided that it was time to bring the tax department back in-house and end its relationship with Rita. The city also had its own prosecutors in municipal court, although the previous court administration and prosecutor's office was unwilling to prosecute the cases. The new administration and judges have agreed to cooperate, and she also stated that Rita was not pursuing non-filers. The transition back to in-house tax department has been difficult and messy. Rental data was not transferred back to the city. Notes and comments from the customer accounts were missing, and addresses were incomplete. She can't be certain, she did say she can't be certain it was due to Rita's software or the conversion. She's not sure why she didn't get all this information, so she doesn't want to completely say it was Rita. But she does expect that it will take 1 to 2 years to fully clean up the accounts and get back to where they were before they went with Rita. I also would highly recommend that you speak to local tax preparers who work with Rita on the behalf of our community, because it can be very challenging to navigate through the Rita system. Some tax preparers even charge their clients extra to do Rita returns. I also ask that you do not rush through the committee and rush the legislation through the committee and onto the agenda without more research and consideration. We've only had, and again, tax department and myself, I've only had 2 council persons ask questions, and we would be happy to answer the questions and even provide you with a list of questions to ask as you continue your own research. I also recommend that you ask our neighbors in Dover if they have considered researching Rita. And I do want what's best for the city, even if means shutting down the department and possibly eliminating Zoe's job, or Jesse's job, or Dana's, or Carly's, or even Debbie's job. I do want what's best for the city, even if that means losing those jobs. I also want to encourage you to reach out to any residents and ask them if they filed with RETA and to contact. But I want to ask that the residents contact your local council person to give your input. And especially if you have filed a RETA, because we are currently have a taxpayer in our office that's trying to get a refund from RETA because they paid RETA and they actually owed it to us. And it may be up to 90 days before that is resolved. So I'm asking that if there's any residents out there that have dealt with RETA, to contact your local council person to give your input and to come to the Finance Committee meeting this Wednesday at 4 p.m. in council chambers. And that's my report.
All right. Any questions for the auditor? All right, thank you, Heather. Treasurer, Ms. Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. President, Council Administration. Treasurer's report for July was sent out. Fund balances total $13,145,000, compared to last year at $12,223,000. So an increase in fund balances of $922,000. Revenue and expenditures. Revenue for July was $2,936,000. Expenses were $3,118,000. So we had $181,000 more in expenses than revenue for the month of July. However, year-to-date, we are at $20,997,000 in revenue, and expenses were $19,166,000, so an increase of $1,831,000. Jumping down to the investment and savings report for the deposit account, we are at $6,947,000, which is $229,000 more than last year. In our deposit accounts, on the investment accounts, we are at $7,240,000, and giving our total cash at $13,736,000. So the report changed a little bit from the last time. In a perfect world, the total fund balances would match the total cash balances, but obviously there's outstanding transactions. So the new part shows the Jefferson Health cash balance is still a negative balance. It is down to a $94,000 negative balance, which if you look at January, it was negative $657,000. So there's continued improvement on that. So if you take out the $94,000 negative cash balance and then subtract out the $451,000 in outstanding checks, which is almost double than it normally is because I think they ran a check run like the last day of the month or towards the last day of the month. And then the payroll transactions were $34,000. So and there were some pending transactions and deposits in transit of $10,000. So that actually ties to the fund balances. So that's a newer part showing how it's all tied together. And then the monthly interest was $33,709.08 compared to $19,327 last year at this time. So year-to-date interest is $226,451 compared to, well, actually it's an $121,000 more than last year at this time. And then there's no change on the debt schedule. I did pencil in the $1,400,000 actually I listed it as $1.5 million for the rescue truck, but we have to have like second and third reading on that, I believe. So that's my report for today.
Any questions? All right, thank you, Ms. Campbell. Law Director, Mr. Feet.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you can see, I've been pretty busy. We got 11 pieces of legislation this past weekend. In addition to that, well, one of the things that I did want to address on that is, we have finally sent out, and it's in Mr. Simolink's committee, our approach to handling micro-mobility devices, which are your scooters, and also handling e-bikes, which are the bikes that you pedal and they go really fast. I took two approaches to it. I did a large, comprehensive one that was similar to what I'd seen in other cities. And keep in mind, there's nothing that the state is already doing on this. So every city is doing something different and having to deal with it on their own. The Ohio Municipal Attorneys Association did a couple weeks ago send out something that a study has been started to inform the legislature on legislation for this. I know more about micromobility, I know enough about micromobility devices and e-bikes, and I think I could open my own bicycle shop at this point, because I've looked at it so much. And one of the things that I was surprised is, we already deal with a lot of those issues that we just needed to tweak in our own codified ordinances. And in talking to the police chief and the safety director, they decided they wanted to go with just tweaking the ones that we already have. So that's what I did, and that's why there's multiple pieces of legislation that deal with changing what we already have. And I'll address that more when they're here, but suffice it to say, I'm very well steeped in it at this point. In addition to that, I am in the process, we lost, my chief prosecutor resigned last Friday to take a position up in Stark County. And this is gonna sound like a broken record, because I've been saying it for years since I've been in here. He left for the same reason that I've lost every other prosecutor. More money and less responsibility. I've said it before, I did a memorandum on it last year, we do not pay our prosecutors comparable to what they do. It's not comparable to what they do across the street at the county, which is why a lot of them leave to go there. It's not comparable to what's being done in other municipalities of similar size. Because we're the county seat, we handle not just New Philadelphia, but 13 surrounding townships. So our case docket is the largest in Tuscarawas County. And I know across the street they do felonies, but the elements of proving the crime of a misdemeanor assault and a felony assault are the exact same elements. You have to prove the exact same things in order to win your case in both scenarios, whether it's a felony or a misdemeanor assault. And that's true with a lot of other things, DUIs and things of that nature. So I wanted to add that. I've been here for 14 years. This is the 7th prosecutor I've lost. And I'm now on my 4th chief prosecutor that I'm working with, and I'm in the process of training my new chief prosecutor. I was able to promote from within. Jackie Hunt is who I'm promoting to that position. But as I'm in the process of training her, that's taken a lot of what I'm doing in the law director's job is now being focused on the prosecutor's job. For instance, last week I spent all day in a jury trial last week. So it's a transition process and we're working through it, and I just want to bring that to your attention because it is an issue that's ongoing here, and it's not something that I haven't said before. So that's pretty much my report. You're going to hear a lot more from me when Mr. Simolink has his committee meeting on the micromobility devices and the e-bikes and what we're trying to do there. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions? Yes, Ms. Ramos.
I know I've asked this before, but the 13 surrounding townships, any way we can get them to pay for the services they get from us?
What I'm looking at right now is, I have a meeting, my victim advocate is, on vacation until the 27th, but I've asked my office manager to set up a meeting with the victim advocate. I want to know a breakdown of which townships are requiring us to do more victim cases. Because right now, the only people that are using the victim advocate in terms of villages or municipalities is Dover, New Philadelphia, and Strasburg, and I do have contracts with Dover and Strasburg for those services based upon the number of cases that are handled. Just in talking with my office manager, she outlined 3 of the 13 townships that she thought were gonna be heavy in victim advocate cases. So in those cases, what I'm gonna try to do is approach them, because as you know, the victim advocate position, it keeps getting decreased by the state of Ohio. It used to pay for the whole thing, except for 20% of it, and then COVID hit, we lost the funding altogether one year. I tried to get it from a lot of different sources. That's what prompted me to start doing these contracts with other communities, and that's the way it's been done. In terms of what they're paying for the services, they're really paying into the court, and then the court sets the fines, and we would get a percentage of those fines based upon whatever the outcome of that is. But I don't know that we can directly charge them outside of the use of the victim advocate. I don't know that we can legally charge them more, because we're obligated to prosecute those cases. Just like we couldn't charge the city of New Philadelphia more necessarily.
Yeah, well, I think you kind of addressed that, but what is it costing for us to prosecute their cases from the townships? Are they paying for it?
Well, they pay into the court, and we're obligated
The
to do.
muni court or the court over there?
They pay into the municipal court. And,
Okay.
So we're obligated to prosecute the cases for the municipal court, because it is
Right.
municipal court. It's not a county court. It's a
Right.
municipal court, and that's who we have to prosecute for. So, but what I am gonna try to do is look at the victim cases and see if that's something that I can arrange funding through that, which would at least help with the victim advocate funds.
Now, the county has a victim advocate.
County has 3 victim advocates.
3. Can you
And about
use
about a
them?
third of the cases that we have.
Can you use them?
I don't know that we can use them because they are funded through the county, they're not funded through us. And they're totally separate grants. And I did talk to Judge Ryan Steyer before he left, and he was in the same boat. Their grants have all been cut too, they're almost paying for all those ones themselves. The county has more funds and resources than we have.
Okay, so that's something we're looking into.
Yeah, if we were county court, we might have that option, but I don't know that that's an option we have right now. I think it has to be out of my office, is what I'm telling you.
Okay, thanks.
I have a question, or
Yes.
comments, I'm not sure how to ask. So in the process of working on the budget for 2027, we talked about caseload and volume, and I was trying to connect the dots and figure out, like, if your case, like, we don't have visibility to if your caseload has increased and what your head count would be, and, so the revenue that's all the revenue that's collected for the prosecutor is posted within the municipal court's revenue.
Yeah, just to clarify, the prosecutor's office collects no revenue on the criminal cases that we charge. That is all collected by the court. The court sets the fees and the fines, and they collect them. And we have no ability to collect money on those. We're not a court. I'm not a judge.
So the court can.
The court has to, by
Okay.
law, that's who has to set it. The prosecutors can't be
Okay,
charging the fees. The court is a neutral entity, so by law, they have to do it. There would be a financial incentive for us to try and get more money.
okay.
What I do is, if the police have charged something under the Ohio Revised Code, I have it, I have my prosecutors change it to a local code so that we do get more money out of that based upon whatever fines are levied by the court. So, because we get more if it's local versus a state code. So, I've been doing that for years.
Yes,
I guess I'll ask a question. So, you talk about the percentage that the court gives us from the case, for the fees paid. They dictate that? What that percentage is that we get, or who
No, that's
dictates?
dictated by the Ohio Revised Code. That's not dictated by the court. The
Okay,
court can set the fines and that, and I trust the court. The court does a great job with that. They, you know,
Yeah, and I'm not saying otherwise, I'm just trying to learn. So the question is, does that percentage change with the cost with inflation? Or has that percentage been the same
Actually,
percentage since
there's
1985?
been a big push from the Ohio Supreme Court to limit fines. They have made it clear through some of their rulings that courts are not there to make money and generate revenue for their communities. It is not the purpose of the court to do that. And so that's put an extra burden on our court, and they have to be careful with how they are levying fines. Like I said, I feel that the court does a good job with it.
Yeah,
I was just asking, I had asked somebody that works at the auditor state and just in general conversation, and the comment was that the revenue generated needs to follow where the expense is recorded, or vice versa. So like, if we're saying that the courts collect all that revenue and it's their revenue, then like, the expenses for the prosecutor should be budgeted from the muni court then, not the general fund.
Well, we're not getting money from muni court. Muni court's not giving any, the only money that municipal court gives to the prosecutor's office is the 20% that they match on the victim advocate. Court doesn't give, that money goes to the general fund. Anything that the court collects would go back into the general fund in terms of fines and that. So it's still going through the same route, it just doesn't come directly to us.
Again, I
You
wasn't sure how to
you can't have a court that is giving money directly to prosecutors. That's not legal. That's not the way the system works.
Yeah, I wasn't
I
sure.
mean, I wish I could charge every criminal that comes through that we handle. You know, you owe us $100 because we're handling your case. You can't do that.
I was just trying to find some visibility to present with caseload and the need for, you know, when somebody says, well, you don't need another person, well, here are the facts, right? You know, you do need that other person because your caseload is X, Y, Z. Right now, we just don't have any visibility.
I have in the past always presented what our caseload is. I've always made that part of what I've provided to council during budgets. And like I said, I know for a fact we do more cases than anybody else in Tuscarawas County because of the area that we cover.
Marvin, are you able to supply her with like the last 3 years' data of that, the caseload?
Yeah, I can do that. That data is already available.
To see
though.
the increase?
That data is already available through the court. I believe the court, on their own website, they put how many cases were from each area. And you should be able to look that up on there, and it'll tell you right there.
Yeah, I just briefly started working with the auditor, asking some questions. Again, I don't know the exact questions to ask, but just trying to connect those dots and make sure that.
Yeah, the court, to my knowledge, and because I think that's where I've gotten it before, is, I just look at what the court's data as to what, because they maintain all that. And I look at what the court says.
And we get a, call it a subledger of the money that's transferred over, right, to you.
I get a month-end report from municipal court, and it shows me which funds to apply the check. So in 2025, we received $948,598 from municipal court. Of that, $238,682 went into the general fund. So everything else went into all of the other municipal court funds. Almost $710,000 went into the various municipal court funds. None of that went to prosecutor's office. Of the $238,000, it looks like $1,338 went to the police department for their fines. And then the rest of that, 230-some thousand, went to municipal court. And for the victim advocates, all these years, there was supposed to, we did have an ordinance that the state was paying 80% for the victim advocate, and the CLOCS fund was supposed to pay the other 20%. Now, the CLOX fund was supposed to originally go to the general fund, but council approved to allow the municipal court to have the CLOX fund to themselves. So that's part of that fund down there that we no longer receive money for. But all of these years that we've had a victim advocate, going back to 2016, 2018, I can't remember which year it is, like I said, 80% was supposed to be paid by the state grant, 20% by CLOX. But as Lynn said, the grant kept going lower. We never received any money from CLOX. All of the difference has been paid out of the general fund. So probably about $50,000 a year being paid out of the general fund. 20-some thousand dollars from the grant. Last year, I did get municipal court to agree to, I think, $15,000 to help fund the victim advocate. And this year, they gave the 20% match to the grant, which is, I think, $6,000 some dollars. The rest of it's being paid from the general fund. And that's when, at the beginning of the year, I asked the law director to revisit those cities that were currently paying a stipend, and Dover increased their stipend from $3,000 to $5,000.
I just will piggyback on that, so when people come up to me and say, our general fund is bleeding money, like, where's the money going? You know, you take $50,000 a year times 6-7 years, I mean, and there's no revenue to offset that, it's just $50,000 a year. So that's one piece of it, of why the general fund continues to decline. So I'll continue to do my job and, you know, ask questions to talk about where the money's going.
Well, the victim advocate program, I think, is one that's required by the Ohio Revised Code because of Marcy's law. And two, I think it provides a valuable service when we're dealing with crime victims. Because keep in mind, the victim advocate does something that us as prosecutors can't do. A lot of times, the essence of domestic violence is control. And in a lot of these cases, the victim is so controlled by the abuser that they control how much money they have, their phone, who their friends are, where they can go. And then it gets to a point where the police are called or they end up in the hospital because they got beat up so bad. And one of the first things that they want to do is drop the case. They don't want any charges being made. So what they want, which comes through the victim advocate, isn't necessarily something that we can do. We are charged with doing justice. And so just because a victim who got beat up really bad, and he's in a very bad place because they've been controlled through domestic violence for the entirety of their relationship, in those instances, we have to do what's right, what justice requires, not necessarily what the victim requires. But because of Marcy's law, the victim advocate can speak and advocate for what the victim wants in those cases. That's why it's essential. Because I can't change it just because this is what the victim wants, but now the victim has a voice and is entitled to sit through all the proceedings. For example, in our jury trial, even when the jury was out, the victim was allowed to be in there for the entire, it was a domestic violence case, and they were allowed to be in there for the entire proceedings, which is different. That's not how it used to be done until Marcy's law was enacted. Are there any other questions on that?
I'll just say real quick, I mean, both things can be true. I don't doubt anything. You know far more about it than I do. But you mentioned that we prosecute more cases than any other place in the county, yet we're not getting reimbursed for it. You know, I hear this across different departments, that there's only a limit to what we can charge. That's why we can only charge what we can charge, because we're limited by this party or that party. I'm not saying it's not true, but if a service exists, it has to get paid for. You know, and maybe maybe it is a way we're, like to your point, maybe it's the way we're putting it in funds and we're, you know, maybe that's an avenue we need to look more down into. So I appreciate you looking into that. Cause it's just something, you know what I mean? Something just seems off with it. No expert by any means, but I don't doubt anything you're saying needs to be there or isn't true, or that the court's doing I'm not saying anybody's doing anything wrong. I think it just is something that we should be looking at, especially with the position that the general fund is in. So,
Like I said, the prosecutor's office doesn't collect any funds. That is what the court does. We can make recommendations. The court sets the fees and the funds based upon their own good judgment. This is what justice dictates, and that's how it's done. There has been a big push from the Ohio Supreme Court to limit that. They don't want. There was a judge that recently lost his job in the last few years up north. He was making people, he was charging exorbitant fines to build a new courthouse for himself. And he would make them stay there until somebody brought in their checkbook, or, because he wanted to pay right then and there. And he lost his license because of that. So, you can't use the court as a bank.
I think we would just be happy
No.
to break even.
We just wanna,
At this
what it
point.
costs, get the money back for that,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like you said, they did bring in close to $1 million then. I didn't even know that figure.
So, yes, but only $238,000 went into the general fund. So the rest of that money is in municipal court funds that we can't touch, or the municipal court can't touch. So this year, our estimated revenue is $250,000 coming from municipal court. The law director's budget is $226,850. The prosecutor's office budget is $525,500. The municipal court's budget, let me scroll.
Can I pause, or can you pause right
Can I
there?
just say this one last number? It's $884,264. And with $250,000 in revenue coming in.
So even if it was just the prosecutor budget we were looking at, we're only bringing in half of the revenue from the courts to pay for a $500,000 budget for prosecutor. That's what I was trying to get the visibility on, is,
But if you apply that $250,000 to prosecutor's office, you're applying zero to the municipal court's budget of $884,000. Because you're only receiving $250,000.
As I've illustrated, we're doing our prosecutors on the cheap. Our prosecutors are paid way below what the average municipal salary is, way below what their counterparts are getting. In some instances, they're getting below what the public defenders who are covering the exact same course cases on the other side are making. So it's not like we're rolling in the dough for our attorneys. That's why we've lost 7 and 14
Yeah,
years.
no, I don't think you are, trust me. Yeah.
Court's not gonna be break even, Brian,
Any other questions?
ever.
All right, thank you.
I would like to request an executive session to discuss a legal matter that was just brought to my attention this morning.
All right, do we have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make it.
In a second? All right, Mr. Walker, roll call.
Mr. Kreinbell?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Lonzer?
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos?
Let me ask what the reason for that is? What's the,
It's to discuss pending or threatened litigation.
okay, thank you.
Mr.
Yes.
Mr. Sears?
Yes.
Mr. Simile?
Yeah.
All right, we'll go into executive session prior to the legislative agenda. Move on to our board and commission reports. Planning Commission, Mayor Day.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Planning Commission will be meeting September 8th at 1 PM here in council chambers, and we're still developing the agenda for the meeting.
All right. Thank you, Board of Zoning Appeals, Mr. McAbeer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Board of Zoning Appeals is scheduled to meet here in council chambers September 8th at 5 PM, if there will be any variances requested.
All right, thank you. Airport Commissioner, Mr. Lonzer.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Airport Commission will be meeting September 8th at 6 PM at the Harry Cleaver Field Airport Meeting Room.
All right. Park Board, Mr. Sears.
Thank you, Mr. President. The park board met on August 19th. One thing just to mention for everybody here and everybody at home, the rides with the starting of school, basically the park lost their staff, so the rides and the pool will now be open only on the weekends. The pool is open through Labor Day, then it will be shut down, but they are gonna try to keep the rides open through the end of September on the weekends only, so. And with that, the next park board meeting is September 16th at 12 o'clock noon at the Park Pavilion.
All right, thank you. Health Board, Mr. Simmelink.
Thank you, Mr. President. Health Department continues to be busy with back to school shots. The measles outbreak, which is all over the country, is also a concern here in keeping them moving. And the next meeting of the Health Board in this room is September 9th at noon.
All right, thank you. Council Committee reports. First up will be Dan, Public Works and Economic Development.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report this evening.
Safety, Health and Service, Mr. Simmelink.
Thank you, Mr. President. Wait, I do have to. Yeah. We have proposed ordinance 2026. What?
Yeah, you're right.
And he said I'm right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Thank
You had a meeting.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Mr. President, I'd like to suspend the rules and vote on that.
Okay, we get there. Zone annexation, Mrs. Ramos.
Yes, thank you. The zoning annexation committee met tonight. We had two things that we discussed. The first thing was the historic district. There will be a public hearing on 9/14 at 7 o'clock. To get anybody from the public can get information on that. And we did place that on the agenda tonight for first reading. We also discussed, city-owned property that is going to auction. And, that went on the agenda tonight, to hopefully suspend the rules and get that passed tonight.
All right,
That's it.
thank you. Salary, Mr. Cranbill.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report this evening.
All right, Cemetery, Mr. Sears.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report.
All right, Contact and Special, Mr. Walker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Special Contact Committee met this evening at 6:15. We had two items for discussion, one of those being amended ordinance 2226, and that was based on some feedback from residents of the community and the health department at the last council meeting. We did place that on the agenda for this evening. And then also ordinance 2426 regarding registration of some bicycles that we no longer do. And we adjourned at 6:27.
All right, thank you. All right, now, visitors' comments. The floor is open for anyone wishing to address council. If you do, please rise and state your name and address. You have 5 minutes.
Hi, my name's Carly Los, tax administrator. Do you want me to tell my address?
Yes.
All right, I live at 320 Lincoln Avenue, Dover, Ohio. So, this, Rita, I just wanted to go over and do some clarifications because I reached out to a couple people, and I just wanted to tell you that our department's maintains and works a close relationship with local departments and tax preparers, allowing us to resolve emerging issues swiftly. To gauge a broader local I reached out to at least, I believe the whole office and I worked together, we reached out to 10 local preparers. I just wanted to go over some information that we did receive. Your taxpayers are going to get charged more when they have to prepare a reader return. They say that it's much easier to work with us because they can talk to us locally and they have established relationships, trusted connections and everything. It's rather than, they have to navigate through an automated system. They have to have a 1-800 number, they have to call that number, and that is how they're going to get any sort of information. They express that they do get in contact with somebody from Rita. They're very rude and they never speak to the same person. So therefore, not only are going through one person, but then they will have to transfer to 7 other different people if not. They appreciate our staff. My staff is consisted of me and my 3 girls over here, because we keep detailed notes in every single account. If there's something wrong and somebody calls us in, we keep detailed notes and they know exactly what that needs to be done. Rita often relies on mail correspondence to communicate with taxpayers, which will significantly increase the turnaround rate. Since those letters are mailed directly to the taxpayer rather than the accountant, they often have unnecessary confusion and concerns because they're being emailed or mailed to them. Rita stated Rita is even harder to deal with than the IRS, which I thought that was pretty interesting. A local municipality reviewed the Rita finances and they were shocked to find extra fees were added on, such as penalties and interest. Our office has 4 ways that you can file your taxes. You can either bring them into our office, somebody's there 24/7 from 8 to 4:30. Our office stays open. We don't shut down for lunch or anything like that. We use an updated e-file site. Just like Rita was talking about, they have an updated e-filing site. I don't know how many people use it that are sitting up here, but I tried to go through Dover's because I now have to file in Dover. I couldn't figure it out, so I'm working on that, and I work in a system like this, but I'm working on this. They can utilize our drop box out here that we share with the water office, and they can mail it in. Now, if taxpayers move to Rita, they have 2 ways to file: mail, file online. Taxpayers are giving that 800 number to call if they have any issues. Therefore, currently we have had 4,596 taxpayers that have used our office since July. I believe, don't quote me on the number, I believe that is higher than what we had all year in 2025. It's crazy because we do tax year 25, but it's 26, you never know what day it is. Our office helps individuals prepare those tax returns, so therefore that's gonna be completely gone. If this is taken away, like I said, your taxpayers or preparers are going to pay more for these preparers to do this. The amount that we did take in cash through our window, we went through everything, our deposits, actually not our deposits, our cash sheets, we took in $161,000 cash through that window. People aren't gonna be able to do that. They're either gonna have to pay online or send in a check. Several accounting firms and local municipalities expressed they have no clue why the city would even consider moving away from this, from a local tax office. Having a tax office where you can reach out and receive instant answers is a benefit for this community. And we are a department for the community and funded by the community. I do have 2 letters. I'm not gonna use their names. He wrote me a letter and he explained the difficulties that they had dealing with Rita. Their customer service is almost non-existing. It is very difficult to try to reach someone, and then if you happen to reach someone, they're arrogant and unwilling to listen. Your residents will find it hard to deal with. Sometimes not all issues can be explained in an email or written correspondence. Sometimes you need to talk directly to someone. They almost act like you're being bothered when you talk to them. Rita statements they send out are confusing or hard to understand. Your residents will probably have to contact their taxpayer or preparers to try to decipher the statement. This will cause your residents to pay more in tax preparation fees. This year, this taxpayer said that Rita missed sending out June statements, so he had several calls from clients. Rita's income tax returns are difficult to prepare. They're completely different from the income tax reports that your residents now are currently using. You will think some of your residents who have done their own tax returns in the past will have to pay someone to do a Rita return. This person, she did say that I am allowed to use her name, and this is Shirley at Check Services. And she did send a letter saying that she's willing to propose that this is not a good idea, and as a local tax professional who has served taxpayers in this area for many years, I have firsthand the value of having local tax office staffed by people who know your community, who are accessible to your residents. When taxpayers have questions or assistance, they can speak to someone who understands the unique circumstances your city has and is invested in providing quality service. She is concerned that the tax administration to Rita would reduce personal service to New Philadelphia residents, businesses that currently receive this. While Rita may provide administrative efficiencies, I believe these efficiencies have come to expense of local accountability and customer service. Decisions affecting our taxpayers should remain local. If the city's goal is to increase revenue or address budget concerns, I would encourage the city to explore alternatives before outsourcing the administration. One option would be to review the New Philadelphia's credit for tax paid to other municipalities. Some Ohio communities, including Strasburg, limit the amount of credit allowed. Evaluating a similar approach would increase the local revenue, which allowing the city to retain its local tax department and the knowledgeable employees who currently serve as residents. Our New Philadelphia office has built relationships with taxpayers, employers, and tax professionals over the years. Those relationships are valuable and should not be overlooked when considering this proposal. So what I have to say is, it is hard to go from a tax office that is like this to go completely online. I understand that that's what we're moving towards, but we have a fully updated system that we use, and you're going to lose the relationships that I have with other municipalities. I speak with Dover on a daily basis. Dover speaks with us in our office on a daily basis. We will no longer have that relationship. So here are some questions that I want you guys to look
Your
at
5
or
minutes.
figure out.
Your 5 minutes, baby.
Perfect.
Most of these comments should be on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I just wanted to have a little couple questions so you guys would have them, but I can send out
Can
an
you
email.
email that to us?
Yes, I'll send it out in an email. I just want some answered. Perfect, thank you.
All right, thank you.
I just want to make a note that the last lady she spoke about, Shirley, I believe she's been in doing taxes since I started here 30 years ago. She and her mom, I think her mom was Lillian, for 30 years they've been tax preparers in our city, so.
All right. Anyone else? All right, at this time, we'll go into executive
Council comments.
council, yes, Ms.
I have a
Robles.
quick one. I just want to make everybody aware of, on September 13th, and this is sponsored by Empower Tusk, they're having a remembrance walk for suicide prevention. It's called No One Walks Alone. And it's at the Southside Community Park here in New Philly. And registration's at 3 and the ceremony's at 4. And I want to give you some stats quickly. And this is for Tuscarawas County. Last year in 2025, there were 18 suicides. Which is less than in 2024, there were 21. That's still lives lost. We don't know the stats yet for 2026. And so I would like to share that the Empower Tusk and through Ohio Guidestone, they provide QPR training, which is question, persuade, refer. And that's a short suicide prevention training that teaches people how to recognize when someone may be struggling. It's like CPR for mental health. And so if anybody, they trained over 60 individuals in 2025. So if anybody's interested in that kind of training, I have contact information for that. Yeah,
Cheryl, I helped bring that to the city, and all of our supervisors were
Great.
trained in the city. And I will also be participating in that event, ringing the bell and speaking. So
oh, good,
the health
okay,
department's involved.
okay, great.
Give that date again. Give the date.
September 13th at the Southside Park. Registration for the walk starts at 3.
All right, thank you. Any other council comments?
I had one.
Yes,
I
Mr.
meant to
Crum.
say it during Ron's speech, during his section, but I was down, because my second home is the high school soccer field. I was getting ready because we had our first home game tomorrow. And just want to thank Ron, thank your staff and everybody that's helping Joe Petrillo at his, I saw everybody down there, like you had your water department down there helping do that. For people that don't know, I did my stuff for the high school field. Now Joe Petrillo is doing another project to put in more soccer fields down there, utilize the Southside Community Park. And he just mentioned how well the city has been to work with. So I just want to thank you and make sure you thank your staff for that.
Yeah,
too.
I
I
know
saw them
that.
down there working. this
I'm
morning.
glad you said that because, they brought it up actually this morning that, it's kind of, there were time crunch, needed stuff done, and that, it was kind of wet, but they.
Very wet.
Yeah, they roped it off and we bringing topsoil back in and spreading that back around, because they trenched it pretty good up through there, but we'll make sure that it's right before anything goes, but, I will make sure I share that with, the staff. Thank you for that.
Yep.
Any other comments? All right. It is 8:35. We'll take 3 minutes and we'll head into executive session.
8:42
on that
clock, 41 on the phone.
Are they all going?
All right, we're on.
It's okay, we're back to regular session, it's 8:42. We're going to our legislative agenda. Ms. Coolwright.
Ordinance number 17, 2026, an ordinance by the council of the city of New Philadelphia, Ohio, authorizing the mayor to apply for an Ohio Department of Transportation ODOT.
Hold on a second, John. All right, now.
All right, State Infrastructure Bank SIB loan to assist the city of New Philadelphia in funding to finance a paving project for the 1,000 block of Front Avenue Southwest in the city of New Philadelphia, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. Fourth reading.
Is there any action we take on this ordinance tonight? Hearing none, we hope for the next scheduled council meeting.
Ordinance number 18, 2026, an ordinance to establish a downtown historic district to provide for guidelines to preserve buildings and infrastructures of historic importance in the district, to provide for the design of new buildings and structures within the district, and to enact subsection 1102.04D4 of the New Philadelphia Planning and Zoning Code and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Is there any action taken by council on this ordinance tonight? Right, hearing none, we held for our next regularly scheduled council meeting.
Ordinance number 19, 2026, an ordinance authorizing the sale of certain property owned by the city of New Philadelphia not required for public purposes pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code, section 721.03, lease or sale of real estate, advertisement for bids, and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Is there any action taken by council on this ordinance tonight? Mr. Ramos.
I move that we suspend the rules on ordinance 19, 2026.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Lonzo, thank you. Any discussion by administration? Council? Roll call.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Lonzer.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Simmelink.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Our rules have been suspended. Mrs. Ramos.
I move that we pass ordinance 19, 2026.
Our Mr. Sears, second. Thank you. Any discussion from the community? Administration? Council? Roll call.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mr. Lonzer.
Yes.
Mr. Simmelink.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
All right, ordinance 19, 2026 has passed.
Ordinance number 20, 2026, an ordinance repealing and replacing section 505.10 of the codified ordinances of the city of New Philadelphia to establish requirements for rabies control, anti-bite reporting, and animal quarantine, authorizing the health commissioner to issue quarantine and other public health orders, and providing for enforcement. First reading.
Is there any action taken?
Yeah,
by-
Mr. President, I'd
Yes.
like to move we suspend the rules and passes 2026.
Have a second. Mr. Walker, thank you. In discussion by administration, council, roll call.
Mr. Simmelink.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mr. Lonzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Our rules have been suspended.
Now, I move we pass 2026.
Have a second. Thank you, Mr. Walker. Is there any discussion by the community, administration, council, roll call?
Mr. Simmelink.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mr. Lonzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
All right, ordinance 20, 2026 has passed.
Amended ordinance 22, 2026, an ordinance by the council of the city of New Philadelphia, Ohio, to amend codified ordinance section 505.01, dogs and other animals running at large, to address safety concerns and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Is there any action taken by council on this ordinance tonight? Yes, Mr. Walker.
Yes, Mr. President, I ask we suspend the rules on amended ordinance 22, 2026.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you, Mr. Simmerlink. Any discussion by administration, council?
Were we adding doves? Or did we
That's
do?
the-
Yeah, that's the
It
amendment.
That's
got
amended.
amended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
She emailed.
She
Yep.
just emailed it on.
Any other questions from council? Roll call.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Simile.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
All right, rules have been suspended. Mr. Walker,
I move that we pass amended ordinance 22, 2026.
do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Simmerlink. Any discussion from the community, administration, council? Roll call.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Simile.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
All right, ordinance 22, 2026 has passed.
Ordinance number 24, 2026, an ordinance to repeal codified ordinance 373.12 registration and declaring an emergency, first reading.
Is there any action taken by council on this ordinance tonight? All right, hearing none, be held for the next regularly scheduled council meeting.
That concludes legislation for this evening,
All right,
Mr.
thank you,
President.
Ms. Courtright. Is there any unfinished old business? Any new business? An invitation, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. President.
Thank you. We adjourned at 8:48.
8:49.
8:48.